All right, nearly 40% of your net worth gone because of the recession. That's what new numbers show from the Federal Reserve this week. Median net worth fell from $125,000 in 2007 to about $77,000 in 2010. That means the recession wiped away, according to the Fed, about 18 years of savings and investment for the typical American family. And the family's net worth is down to where it was in 1992. What's also interesting about these numbers is they show for the middle chunk of the income strata fell, but the top 10% did okay. So it kind of feeds a little bit into that 99 versus the 1 theory that we've been hearing so much about.
Setting aside the 1% versus the 99%, which isn't my favorite discussion in the world that we seem to indulge.
Shocking.
This is a statistic that resonates much further than this little 1 versus 99% debate. This is your economic recession in a nutshell right here.
Sure.
40% decline in net worth. That cannot be overstated. The effect that has on consumer spending, economists debate that all the time. That is massive.
It's
That's a massive
18
number.
years of savings and investment. That's what really did it for me, because even covering the financial crisis, trying to quantify to people, this means you can't retire when you wanted to. This means you have to work longer. This means you have to work 2 or 3 jobs. This means 18 years of progress was erased from the typical family. That's tough.
To say that this isn't going to have political ramifications either, and that this is, I mean, I think the political party in November that is going to have the most success is the one that can convince, and it's not just the middle class, but also, and I think here, Republicans need to learn to talk about how to help people get out of poverty and how to continue social mobility so that people can grow net worth, and how to address these core problems. Because we see the Democrats a lot of the time talking about poverty and the poor, but Republicans sometimes shirk from these issues.
Why?
And you know what? And it's a great question, actually. I think it probably goes to some of the sort of the nature of conservatism. We talk about how the rising tide raises all boats.
Do you think people think that if Mitt Romney talks about poverty, he doesn't know about poverty?
I mean, Rudy Giuliani talked about this a lot. Rudy Giuliani talked about a ladder out of poverty and how do you get there. So there are some reform Republicans and urban Republicans who have been able to talk about it successfully.
Any Republican who does not talk about the issue of poverty is an absolute idiot, because if you look at the poorest states, the bottom 10, 8 of those 10 are so-called red states. Okay? You can talk about Mississippi, Alabama, you can go to West Virginia, you can talk about Louisiana. They're at the bottom. And so it's a real issue. But when you talk about this particular housing issue here, it also forces us to have a different conversation in that we had this false economy, if you will. Folks were flipping houses. They were sitting here.
Right.
The values were going up. And so what happened was, in some cases, I mean, my brother has a house. The house next to him got flipped so many times. That house was selling for almost $500,000. The house really should have been around $300,000. And then what happens? The property values go up, and it really was a false economy.
Mirage.
And so all of a sudden, people are saying, "I've lost it," but we were operating really with a false sense of security. And specifically, we talk about African Americans. 53% of black wealth has been wiped out. And that's going to affect the next 2 generations.
All right.
Because typically, you start your business with a home loan. You can't do it because you don't have a home now.
All right, guys. That's a tough number. 18 years wiped away.
Absolutely.
All right. An eyewitness.